Hi everyone, it is Blake Allwood. For those of you who don't know me, I write gay fiction, including romance, science fiction, and fantasy. So on Facebook, a friend of mine has started asking, what do we do to start expanding our food options, making them more affordable? And since I grew up on a farm in a very poor part of the country, I happen to know how to do that and to do it fairly well. So today I'm going to kind of work with you and give you some ideas. Today I'm going to be making meatloaf, which is usually a very expensive thing to make. I'm going to show you how to do it in a cheap and affordable way. So today we're going to work on a recipe that is usually really expensive, and that is meatloaf. The reason I'm choosing meatloaf to start with is because this is a protein-based meal that you can make, and I can show you how to do it relatively cheaply. And so there's a little trick on how to make that inexpensive. You'll notice that I am using an aluminum pan. If you are at home, you probably have bowls and you probably have a broiler pan, and that's what I would recommend that you use if you're doing this at home. If you live in an RV like I do, you have to make some different choices, and so I'll be showing you later what I'm doing instead of a broiler plate. So I have two things here, and this is how we start with making this an affordable dish. I have beef, which I bought in a frozen 3-pound container, and I have turkey, which I've also bought frozen. Beef today costs around $4 to $5 a pound, even frozen, and turkey costs between $1 to $3 a pound, significantly less. So when I make a dish like meatloaf or a beef stew or anything using ground beef, I now mix in turkey. And I do 1 part turkey to 3 parts beef. So this is what we're going to start with now. I did want to start these. I'm not going to give you a recipe. You can look those up online and you can pick the things that you like. I'm going to just show you how to do things in an inexpensive way. So we'll get started. I start with my protein, and then I add the ingredients that I'm going to put in it. So my recipe that I use calls for garlic. We like garlic, so I'm putting a little more than the recipe calls for. I'm also using pepper, a little salt, Worcestershire sauce. I was in England, they actually taught me how to say that. It took forever for me to learn, but Worcestershire sauce. You will add your own ingredients, you will do as you want. You should follow your recipe. We also like chili in ours. We're in the Southern California and we like chilies. So I'm adding those to mine. You can add what you want. I also want to reiterate, this is not the name brand. This is the store brand. And for me, it tastes just as fine and costs a lot less. Almost all of your meatloaf recipes call for milk. They also call for eggs. Right now, eggs cost about $1 a piece, sometimes more. So what I do is I'm switching over to a flaxseed, because flaxseed can be used as a substitute for eggs. This entire bag, literally, it's organic, and I just got it for $3.50, a lot cheaper than eggs. I take my milk, I add my flaxseed. This has been sitting for 5 minutes, and that allows time for the flaxseed to mix and to get soluble. Make sure I got most of that out. So the other thing that almost all, and of course it's not looking pretty right now because we have a little blood in there. Don't be too afraid. That is what it looks like when you work meat. So almost all meatloaf recipes call for breadcrumbs. I can't eat wheat products, unfortunately. It's one of the things that I can no longer do. And I used to be on keto, and one of the keto recipes says that you can substitute wheat for pork rinds. And so what you do is you grind your pork rinds up. Again, you need to use the recipe that you want to use, and just try to be smart about it. So in my recipe, I'm not using wheat-based products. I'm using pork rinds. So here's our ingredients mixed together. And when we come back, I'm going to show you what you do once you get it mixed together. By the way, you need to wash your hands very, very well. So welcome back. I want to show you what we've done. I made what is called the loaf, a meat loaf. And as you can see, I have it in a pan that's standalone. If you have a broiling pan, which is basically a bottom pan that has a top that's with slits in it, you should probably use that. I don't have that. Again, I live in an RV, so I'm living on space, so I create my own. We live by the adage of reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is going to be a reuse situation as long as we can, which is why you have the aluminum foil. So two things, we're saving money because of the amount of food that we're cooking here. And I've already sliced this up to show you that there's about 12 servings in this total meatloaf. This cost me around $20, so you have about $1.50 per serving. Now, if you make a smaller meatloaf, the smaller it is, the more money it's going to cost you. So this is with the total amount of stuff that I have in my meatloaf. About $20 is represented here. And then you divide that by 12, and that gives you about $1.50 a slice. And that is pretty cheap. Very affordable, and something that you can do. Now if you put eggs in there, it's going to cost you a little bit more, especially if you're paying $1 an egg. So what I have to do now is I've got to put my topping. Again, you should use whatever recipe you want to use. Now, we like the traditional tomato and brown sugar topping on ours. You may not. You may want a not vegetarian, because clearly that's not what this is. But if you might want a low sugar, and so you wouldn't add this. But it's all up to you what you want. You may have wanted the breadcrumbs instead of the pork rinds. It's up to you. I'm not doing this to give you a recipe. I'm doing this to show you that you can make this in an affordable way. And that's the key. Now, I do want to say that when you cook a meatloaf that's this big, it is going to be a little more difficult to get it to cook all the way through. And you need to have a meat thermometer. If you don't already have one, you need to get one. They don't cost that much. And that will tell you when you reach the desired cook. So most of us like our beef medium to medium rare. Of course, there are consequences for eating raw or uncooked meats. And there's always a risk when you do that. But we like to eat ours that way. So we're going to put this in the oven. Unfortunately, my cameraman, aka my husband, he's got to leave. So we will show you the end product. But I did want to show you that you absolutely can have a delicious meal. You're going to have 12 servings. What we will do is we will have 2 of those tonight for supper. And then 10 servings will be placed in bags, frozen, and we have a food saver, which we will then seal, and so we will have meals for 5 more nights for the 2 of us. If you have a larger family, well, you know, that's going to be less. But absolutely, you can have a protein-rich meal with ingredients that cost a lot of money, but you can make it in such a way that you can save money. So we'll be back in a bit. We will show you the end product. So welcome back, and my cameraman, aka husband, is back in time for dinner, and so we are able to record this for you. So there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't mention in the other video, and that is the reason why you want to use a broiler pan, or in this case what I did, an aluminum pan with holes in it, is because we purchased the high-fat meat, and we want the oils to flow out of that. but we also want the discounted price, and also fat makes food taste better. So if you see on the bottom, you can see where the oils have fallen out of the meat while it was cooking. You'll now see that I have 10 slices here that will now be frozen, and then we will put them in our bags. You'll also notice that in the middle, these are a little bit raw. These got up to 140 degrees, but I wanted them to be a little raw because when I reheat them later, that allows me to cook the meat without it getting overcooked. So it actually works out very well to have a large piece of loaf that you're cooking, because when you reheat it up later, you don't want to have overcooked meat. I always eat the end pieces first. So in our meal that we're having tonight, these are the end pieces. The larger end pieces that were still a little raw, I was able to put those in the freezer because those were a thicker end than these two were. So we're eating this tonight. So I made potatoes. As you see, I have quite a few left over. I made frozen broccoli. I got this at Walmart. This cost $1.25. I got the bag of potatoes, which means that I only paid $4.50 for the entire bag. So with the butter, I also buy in bulk at Costco. I was able to make my potatoes for less than $2. So I have $2 in my potatoes. I have $1 in my broccoli, and that includes the cheese that I purchased at Costco and then shredded myself. So I have this really delicious meal, and I have less than $10 in the entire meal. So it's closer to $4 a piece, so about $8. That's for an entire meal for both of us. So as you are going through your cooking process, try to buy in bulk. Try to buy on sale, and try to get the best you can for the money. Try to make your proteins in such a way that you can freeze it, because the more you cook, the cheaper it is. If you like this video, go to blakeallwood.com and buy my books. It's as easy as that. I also want to remind everyone, LGBTQIA is something that we designated for ourselves. It is LGBTQIA, and we don't need politicians telling us what or how that needs to be reframed. So thank you very much, and I'll try to do another video for you soon. Goodbye.